Oh, here he is. Hold on.
There you go.
Yeah, we're up.
Hold on. There he is, folks.
Yeah.
Okay, we're up and live.
Loves to make a grand end.
Folks,
Hey,
oh, for Christ's sake. I haven't even done my intro yet.
Hi, Darren.
Folks, just stop it. Folks, a very warm welcome to you all. This is Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. Yeah. It's 8:30, and you are more than welcome to this week's edition of Mauls, Balls, and All. Joining me are, I always say this, but they are familiar faces to the folks behind the scenes of the group that you're a member of. We have James Grennan, we have Claire Devaney, we have Richard Holland, and late Mr. Late Boy, as always, Dara Weston is also joining us as well. Folks, are you all well in yourselves? How the hell are you?
Tickety-boo, Peter. Tickety-boo.
All good.
All good.
Oh, God.
Right,
you did over a minute of an intro and you couldn't say happy birthday to Claire.
Oh, thank you, Darren.
I thought you were going to say you're all very welcome to this birthday spectacular, and then when you were introducing people, I thought you were going to say, and the birthday girl. Jesus, you dropped the ball multiple times.
Touche, Garrett. Touche. Happy birthday, Claire.
I scare us while he's enjoying his wedding up in wherever it is, his wedding.
And he didn't invite any of us. Would you blame him? Actually, would you blame him?
None of us got an invite. Oh,
would you blame him?
I wouldn't trust any of us near a free bar.
No.
Yeah, individually we might be all right. Could you imagine us all together at the same free bar?
Yeah.
No.
Plus, I have a rule with weddings. The distance I have to travel to the wedding, there's a formula that equates to the number of meals that I will want to attend said wedding. So, like, if I have to drive halfway down the country, I want at least 2 or 3 dinners.
If you have to go outside the pale.
They come down with seconds a couple of times to you then.
That's Jesus, yeah.
Any chance we could get to talking about what we're supposed to be talking about?
We could. Are you going to wish Claire a happy birthday?
Yeah, all right. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Darren.
Happy birthday, Claire.
Okay, Catherine Keegan. Catherine, before we get into it, Catherine Keegan.
In case anyone didn't know, it's my birthday.
Oh my God. Gregor Galway. Evening all. Happy birthday, Claire from
Thank you, Greg.
Megan Augusta. Hello, ladies and gents. Hello, Megan. How are you? Megan, happy birthday, Claire. Oh my God. Here we go. Happy birthday, Claire. Bevan Marie. Hi, Bevan. Happy birthday, Claire. Hello, guys. Okay. Let me just hold on. Just do that.
Mute all the happy birthdays.
Okay. Now, James Grennan, I want to come to you first on this. Breaking news today across the social media. Johnny Sexton is joining the Irish setup and also the Lions coaching setup. Now, this has come in for a bit of criticism, which I can't see, and I don't really see this sort of thing, that he hasn't earned his stripes, so to speak, and this is why he's been. This is where the criticism is coming from. James, would you agree with this, or would you kind of go, well, he's earned the stripes on the pitch, so let him off?
Yeah, I tend to go for the latter there. Right, that he is. He's been a quasi on-field coach for the last 15, 20 years. He's been marshalling the troops around the pitch. He knows what's required. In terms of he's going to be a kicking coach on the tour, I believe. Who else would you want as a kicking coach?
True.
Who's going to be better if you couldn't get Raj? Who else would you want as a kicking coach there? Perfect choice for that. I don't know, has he been involved in training his kids in minis or anything like that? Has he got his coaching badges done? Has he done all of that? I'm sure he probably has. But I think I think if you're able to do it and he's proven that he is able to direct and coach people. I think he'd be very much in the Paul O'Connell style of you fucking do it, or you won't be in the mix. The standard will be very, very high. Is what I mean by that. Not that it's my way or the highway. And the standard will be very, very high, and he'll demand excellence from the players.
Yeah, he's kind of Roy Keane-esque, James, when it comes
it's his
to
job. It was his job.
There you go. All right, okay. Claire Devaney, your thoughts on this? Hold on, Darryl. I'll come to you now. Just 1 second. Claire Devaney, your thoughts on the criticism that some people.
I understand the criticism he's getting for against her. I do understand that because he hasn't handed over the mantle just yet. It's like he's still holding on to the reins. That's my opinion. That's what I think. So he's one of the best. He's one of the best kickers in the world. So any knowledge he can impart to our young kickers coming through is only going to be good for the game.
But Claire, would you? Sorry, James.
I was going to say the only fly in the ointment there is the criticism he's had of our friend from Scotland and our friend from England, the 210s there that he criticised. How's he going to coach them?
I really. Yeah,
well, it'll be the same thing when Rico.
Oh, you mean Peter's favourite player? Peter's favourite player?
No. Can we stop? So, Claire, I was going to ask you a question now, and I completely forgot what I was going to ask you.
It's
Richard
okay.
Holland.
That's Alzheimer's kicking in.
There you go, Richard Holland. Your thoughts on this? Sexton has been, as we all know, he's been a king at the 10 position for a long number of years. He's now been asked to come onto the Irish coaching squad and also the Lions coaching squad. But he has come in for criticism. Would you agree? Should he be criticised, Richard, for doing this?
No, I don't think he should be. I'll be honest with you. If he can impart even a fraction of the wealth of knowledge that he has onto, in particular in the Irish setup, over the next couple of years, if he can even impart just a fraction of what he knows, he will make better players of the 10s that are coming through. In regards to him being, I heard the term today, parachuted into the job. Andy Farrell knows him, and Andy Farrell knows what he wants.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot to do with it. He, as James said, he's been effectively a coach on the pitch for the last 15 years. So there's definitely a good coach in him, I think. And he's striving for perfection will only improve the team.
Right. Okay. All right. Thanks, Richard. Thanks, James. Thanks, Claire. Darragh Weston, any justification for the criticism that Johnny has received for being appointed to these coaching positions with the Irish team and the Lions team?
No. Jealousy, maybe. Look, it's people. There's obviously people still have hang-ups about, well, they're mainly French people have hang-ups about his on-field interactions, say, with referees, etc. But I mean, it had to move forward for the last Neil Jenkins is in his 60s now, and Gatland has been dragging him to every Lions tour for the last while now. I mean, kicking has moved on, since the days when Jenkins was doing it. So we need somebody a bit more modern. Richie Murphy used to be Sexton's kicking coach. He's busy with Ulster now. Look, Johnny knows a lot of the players. He can still wield a certain amount of fear in the dressing room. He probably still knows a lot of the set pieces. And again, being a 10, it's not just kicking. It's also, marshalling, controlling the troops, making sure everybody is where you need them to be on the pitch, seeing where the spaces are, etc. As regards official coaching badges, I'm not completely au fait with what particular courses you have to do to be a coach. I know, for instance, in football, you have to do certain FIFA courses. And you have to do, I think, 7 or 8 of them to get up to coach like a top division team or a national
and
team.
you have to play. And you have to play with Lego or some shit.
I don't know, but like, I mean, I'm not sure if World Rugby have that same kind of a thing. You know, at a club level, I mean, you can basically do Garda vetting. You do a course on how to work with under 18s. If you have to work with under 18s, and you do a player safety thing.
I did some of the IRFU coaching when I was doing minis and the underage as well. So it's changed a little bit. All right, yeah, you do the Garda vetting and all of that stuff as well, and player safety stuff. But you also we had a lot of the senior Connacht coaches in with us doing the coaching session. So it was well run. It's changed a bit. So, and that was only like up to under 12s that I was coaching. So
it's changing next season as well. It's changing from next season onwards. From next season, you have to have a badge.
Okay.
You have to. Yeah.
So what does that mean, Claire? You have to have a badge.
It means you have to go through the IRFU qualifications. Yeah, no, it doesn't have to be the full qualification. It can be the introduction one, but you have to have gone through them, starting from this coming, like at the end, starting next season. And then they're also bringing in for minis and youths. That's it. But for minis and youths, they're bringing in the quota. So if the quota is like under 6s, they have to have 5 players for 1 coach. If you have 20 people there, you have to have 4 coaches. And it has to be, it has to be adhered to. I only heard that 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's coming in. It was meant to be there, but it's getting enforced.
If De La Salle decide next year they want to get one of their legends of the game back to coach their senior team, you'll need to have your IRFU badge done. But you can guarantee Johnny's done that in the background. I mean,
probably, yeah. I'd imagine so, yeah.
But Dara, apparently he hasn't. This is where the criticism is coming from. Apparently he hasn't. So
the only people who know has he done these accreditations are
him and the IRFU
and himself. You know, he's been doing kicking coaching with Sam. You know, he's been kind of like lightly involved. Let's bear in mind that he works for a company that's owned by a billionaire who is mad into Leinster rugby and mad into rugby in general, Irish rugby also. So I'm sure he's had no problem getting time off, you know, to go. I mean, we knew this was coming. We talked about it last week that if he wasn't kind of picked as maybe a kicking coach for the Lions, he'd probably be going with Paulie on the summer tour, you know, because he was involved as like the kicking mentor for the Irish squad. So, I mean, it's just being formalized now. And people are saying, oh, he doesn't have this, he doesn't have that. You can guarantee, like, the IRFU have enough cop on now that if somebody's going to be announced, they're going to make sure, you know, as a national, coming on board the national squad as a coach, that he's going to have the required qualifications to do it.
They're not going to do it.
Doing those in the background, you know.
They're not
going to put him through tackle school, you know, in a day. You know, he's a master at that now, so, no.
Okay. Sorry, Claire, were you going to say something there?
I was just going to make a joke. They're not going to do against her on it and forget to get their visas for. Do you remember against her a couple of years ago?
Yes.
Yeah. It just came in. It was like, I'm sure they have the paperwork all done.
Okay, a few comments there, folks. Was Bevan Marie, was Paulie a seasoned coach on his first coaching with the Bills? Okay.
British Irish Lions.
Oh yeah, British. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I'd say, as far as I can remember, he was mixed up with the under-20s down in Munster when he got that gig the last time.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Fair enough, Richard. Thank you for that, Luke Conway. Evening, all. How are you? We are all good, Luke. Thank you. Bevan is in again. The only bad thing is before he retired, he said he didn't want to coach players he worked with, and a season and a half later, he is coaching his teammates. He went back on his word, which is why I don't think they should answer questions about coaching. Okay.
The one thing I would say to that one is there's very few left that Johnny. The only one left that Johnny won anything with is Cian Healy, I think. Well, I'm talking Heineken's here. I'm not talking URCs and, you know, pro whatevers. Proper, you know, proper we measure Leinster's success in European levels. So, like, I mean, and Keane's going at the end of the season. So, I mean, I think, you know, there's not that many. Some of them would have been in the youth system. Some of them would have been just coming in. Harry Byrne would have been his backup, but
Ross.
But Ross is probably going to go somewhere else. So, yeah, I think, you know, there's not many left. It would have been different if he'd gone back in and it was still the same squad.
In any event, any of the 10s that he'd be coaching, he would never have played with them, or very limited.
Actually, Richard, for you, where is Flannery? Because
he's South Africa.
Yeah. South Africa, yeah, because he went off, wasn't it, to the Crusaders, and then he spent time with Arsenal. He went really deep into the coaching, like in the whole performance side of it.
Yeah, he's more the strength and conditioning is what he's doing, I think, for South Africa.
Yeah.
Mike Sheedy there, folks. John, great out half player, but being coach. Jonathan, sorry, great out half player, but being coach, big job to do. But look at what Raj did.
Coach with the other teams.
With other teams. Now, Raj isn't getting on so well.
He's not doing great. He's not doing great. No, he's in the relegation
season. But I think we need to specify that Johnny is only going to be a kicking coach. You know, Raj is a head coach. Johnny's only starting as a kicking coach. So, which is what he's been doing unofficially.
It's what you have to do anyway. You do kind of serve an apprenticeship before you move up to a head coach role anyway.
You
do.
Specialize,
you know, specialize scrum, whatever.
Wasn't Raj coaching him in Paris?
Yeah.
You want to
coach Johnny in Paris.
And Dan Carter as well, I think.
Yeah.
He is qualified. He is qualified. He is qualified. Maybe not.
We're annoying Burke. We're annoying the producer.
Okay.
We're always annoying him.
Rod famously said one time when he was coaching, or he was asked about coaching Sexton, he says, "There's not much coaching left in Johnny."
Yeah.
There you go. Right. Okay. Moving on from that. Thank you, guys. Hold on. Gregor Galway. What does Gregor say? Be interested to see how Sexton gets on with Finn. Galway.
That's who he's picked. Finn might not be picked.
Gregor.
Can't remember 4 years ago, Gregor.
Yeah. James Grennan. Moving on. Different subject. Moving on. Another subject that was flooded with the social media sphere, our group as well, was Ione coming to Leinster. People fucking lost their shit about this, and I was trying to think. I was thinking to myself, is he actually needed in Leinster? I mean, Ione is an outside centre.
Well, there's the thing. Go on. So we all know Leinster have 11 centrally contracted players.
Yeah.
For the Six Nations cycle and the World Cup cycle and the Lions Tour cycle and all that, the majority of the Leinster team are going to be gone. So you need somebody strong in there. So you have Barrett in there at the moment doing a fantastic job, doing an incredible job. We were all very surprised when we heard, Jordy Barrett's joining Leinster, what the fuck, you know, and blah, blah, blah. Everyone lost their shit over that as well. But that has worked out really, really well. So when all the big names are playing with Ireland, Leinster were still able to, you know, compete, and they had leadership on the field. They had RG Tampon and Barrett, and all pulling the strings there and doing things. So you wanted Barrett next season, so you're bringing in Josh Ioane. It makes perfect sense. Or not Josh Ioane, Rico. I was Josh's arm man. I thought Rico was going to join his brother Josh down in Connacht. That would have been nice.
Well, come here. Actually, funny enough now, do you think Ioane for Connacht is doing a good job? I saw people that weren't really overly happy with him, James, in his attack.
So look
kicking.
So look at he started off great, and then he fucking went rapidly downhill. And he's since JJ came back into the mix, he seems to have gone backwards. Now we're losing JJ at the end of the season, and there was word that we were supposed to lose Josh as well at the end of the season, but I think he's staying on. Jack Carty is on the. He's gone with the team to South Africa. I think he's back from injury. On a good day, Jack is great. He's fucking great on a good day, but on a bad day, he's fucking terrible.
You can say the same thing about Ione, to be fair.
Yeah. And Ione seems to have got that as well. Like Ione, Josh played for the All Blacks. He's a quality player. He's a good player. You don't get to play for the All Blacks if you're not. He didn't play for them very often, but and he did show moments of brilliance. But I don't think he's our answer at 10. We need someone fucking solid and reliable. And I have to say, against Racing 92, JJ was superb. And the week before, he was fucking excellent as well when he came on. He was the savior of the game the week before, you know.
Who would you like? Who would be your ideal, James, for a 10 for Connacht? If you were pulling the purse strings,
internationally or in
just in general, who would you like to see as the Connacht 10?
Oh, Finn Russell would be great.
Oh,
I'm joking. Jesus, relax. Don't lose your shit altogether. No, seriously. Look, there's a few guys sitting on the bench in Leinster that would, like the likes of, Frawley there. If he came down and was nailed on a 10, you can imagine how well he developed there. Like, you've guys sitting on the fucking bench in other provinces, and we are struggling for a 10, a solid 10. Why don't the IRFU look at that and say, right, here's a discrepancy that we have. We have a bunch of guys here that we want to maybe as a backup to the two boys who are clearly now in P1 and P2, and we need to have a P3 and a P4. And why aren't we looking at that in Ulster and in Connacht, and move the players around? Why aren't they doing that?
It's like us down south with props. We were in a bad way for props.
Well, you've got Milne from us.
That's about fucking time. He's sitting on the bench in Leinster, and now it's great that he's moving.
Frawley is a utility back. He's not just a pure kicker like the Byrne brothers. He's a utility back. He can play full back. He can go into the centre, go on the wing. So that's why we're keeping him. And plus the fact, when Leinster send players to other provinces, ye break them.
Yeah, you kill them.
I fucking knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, and then he went to Bordeaux, or then he went to abroad, and he's fucking great again.
Our best kicker outside of the actual 10 position is Cathal Ford at the moment, and he's solid as could be at 10. He's
he was left out, James, for a good few games.
He was, and he I think the last game he had a bit of a niggle, and I think that's why he's out. And Bundy was back, so he was pushed out. I would have preferred to see him starting. Now, Bundy played his socks off for Connacht against Racing 92. Reason being, Andy Farrell was sitting up over my left shoulder, up in the stand, watching it, and Bundy played his little heart out. But he doesn't do it the rest of the time.
James, yeah, exactly. You said to us before that Bundy plays better for Ireland than he does for Connacht.
Absolutely. I hate to have to say it, but it's the truth. And look, Bundy's daughter and my daughter are friends. There's good family connection there. Lovely guy. Met him loads of times. Fucking great guy and all. But the fact is that when he has the Irish green jersey on, he's a fucking animal on the field, and he cannot do enough. When he's playing for Connacht, I tried to rationalise it before and saying, right, is it that Bundy's at a different level and Connacht aren't able to keep up with him, or is he just not fucking playing enough? And I've come to the conclusion that he's just not playing enough or well enough, because the Connacht team without him perform fucking better. Simple. That's the unfortunate truth.
Is that because he's an honours maths student in a past maths class? Like,
that's what I was talking about.
And the players can't keep up with him. Whereas when he steps up to an international level, it all flows seamlessly.
But that's not the case. The intensity isn't there when he's playing for Connacht.
Right.
The same intensity isn't there. And
but like
Connacht
team, yourself, like, I mean, if you go out and you don't give 100% intensity, that's the second time you'll get injured. You know, that's the biggest cause of injury, is going out and not giving it your all. So, you know, but look, yeah, you could be right on it. I don't know.
I think the team is better when Cathal Ford is in there. When Cathal Ford and Hugh Gavin are in a central partnership, I think the team are much, much better.
All right. Okay.
There you go. Claire, you heard it here first. Connacht are willing to take offers for Bundy.
Grand job. Claire, before I ask you about Ione, just a few comments coming in here. James, this mysterious James, who was the worst hairline host?
I'd say James is a fierce baldy fella, and he's very jealous of all of us with all our full heads of hair.
No, see, I see. But my thing is wearing a cap, so
at least he's come up with it. He's been using the same joke for 3 weeks in a row, so at least he come up with something different tonight.
I'm on screen. I did not type that. That wasn't me.
Just for the record, my hairline stops at my ankles.
Good man.
As all props should. Proper order.
Gregor, Gregor, go away. Okay, hold on one sec there. Can you imagine the Leinster backline next season will be so good and so cool? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Bevan, his kicking game isn't great, but his gameplay is. That is in relation to Ione, yes. Bevan. Gosh. Again, Josh is staying, and Sean and Harry are coming up from academy to replace Jack. Okay, Bev, I think maybe Cathal Ford should move back to 10, but it could risk his Ireland career if he wanted one. James, any quick thoughts on that?
I do agree with Bevan on that one. All right, yeah. He's playing so well at the moment at centre. That if he moved back to 10, that could, absolutely would push him back down the pecking order.
All right, okay. Claire, Ione to Leinster. The question I asked James, which seems like ages ago. So, is Ione needed at 13 for Leinster for next season?
Is he needed? Was Geordie needed? Is the same question. Was Geordie needed when he came in?
True. True.
Yeah. I watch Super Rugby. As you all know, they haven't been playing great. The Blues are like going backwards. And he hasn't been playing great. It's like he's not enjoying his rugby, and I don't know if he's doing it to find the love of the game again. Like, it seems like the Blues, the team he plays on, you've Caleb Clark, there's
doing for Wedge.
They're amazing players, but they're not gelling as a team this season. And I don't know if Ione has lost his love for rugby, and he sees what Geordie has got out of it coming to Leinster, and he hopes lightning can strike twice when he comes over.
And he wants to tie up with his old friend Johnny again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's gonna be great fun. Come here, people. You'd be hoping that Johnny will be the bigger man now that he's retired and doesn't deck him.
One of my daughter's friends suggested that Johnny should meet him at the airport with a signed copy of his book and hand it to him as a welcome gift.
Okay. Richard Holland, your thoughts on this?
I have to run for a minute. My dog is going mad downstairs. Hold on.
Go on.
Yeah. You asked the question: do Leinster need him? Probably not. But do Leinster want him? Yes, and there is the difference. Because if a player of the caliber of your Ione or your Barretts come along and you have a chance to take him, you take them. It's as simple as that.
Is it a cynical move, though, Richard, that Leinster are thinking, well, if we sign Barrett, he's going to sell more jerseys, more tickets. If we sign Ione, he's going to do the same. Would you look at that?
Is that not the case with any of them? Like when we signed the likes of, well, I know it didn't really work out for us. Carberry down in Munster. What was he brought? You know, he or
no. No. There's a difference. If you have Barrett, who was worldly known, you have Ione, who was worldly known, All Blacks, coming to an Irish province.
Like Dougie Howlett.
Like Dougie
Yeah,
Howlett.
exactly.
And who's the other ones, Dara? There was a few that Munster signed.
Maffey
Jesus,
would have
over
been
the
another one.
years. Jim Hamilton, I think. Jim Hamilton.
Let's pay me Maffey.
Munster Haka with 4 or 5 of them, wasn't
There
there?
you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
Sean Payne, another one.
Yeah. So, Richard, am I being too cynical to say, well, look, Leinster are signing these players to sell more tickets, to sell more jerseys, to,
Well,
is there an element to that?
A little bit, but at the end of the day, it's a business as well, and you have to make money, and this is how you do it. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
No,
fair enough.
You have to turn a profit at the end of the day, there, or it won't work.
Of course, yeah, no, I agree. Yes, Dara Weston, your thoughts on this thing, this Ione thing? Go on, rub your hand.
Right. Okay.
Go on.
Gary Ringrose. Gary Ringrose is 30. Robbie Henshaw is 32. Are we going to flog a pair of them to death, playing them in every bloody Leinster game, as well as having them in the Irish camp all the time? It's the exact same thing we had last year when Geordie was announced coming over. What do you need a mercenary like that for? Because 11 of the Leinster players at the moment are centrally contracted, which means they're core international players, which means they're gone from basically October until kind of December, really. They might make it back for an interpro before Christmas or around Christmas. And then they're gone from the end of January until the middle of April. So, you're losing a large part of your squad there. Now, we have some great young players coming up, but if Henshaw and Ringrose weren't available, who were Leinster putting in the centre?
Tommy O'Brien.
Yeah. So, young lad. Now, Tommy O'Brien is going to come on leaps and bounds, basically playing with Rico Ione. So, it's that kind of, and, this is the whole point. Munster were the first to have these Galacticos and to have Doug Howlett, and, they had South Africans before anybody else had. It happens when you're a great team and you're European, up in the European Championship level, and you're, crest of a wave, that you get foreign players. You have the ability to bring them in because they see it as an attractive proposition to join your club, like Dougie Howlett did. Also, New Zealand rugby kind of still on their uppers. Now, they did get awarded 20 million that Ratcliffe should have paid them this year.
Yes.
But in theory, they haven't announced a new shirt sponsor for this year. So it's not like they're going to make double money this year with a new shirt sponsor and then still get paid by Ineos. So, they need to reduce some of the club bills, because they're obviously topping up the All Blacks. They're obviously topping up the club salaries the same as Ireland does. So if they can ship them off for a season, it's great. So I think, they regularly go to Japan. They go off to Japan and they play in Japan for a season, and then they come back in and into the All Blacks again. So I don't see why coming to Leinster should be any different. Coming to Europe.
Right. Okay.
So I think he fills a purpose there that we need, and he's available. Geez, you'd be mad not to.
Come here, lads. Here's a question for all of you. Are we letting the fox into the henhouse here a little bit now, bringing in these All Blacks into which is effectively the Ireland setup, the Leinster camp, learning our fucking.
That's not an issue we have at the moment, James. When we can't get until we start getting into finals against the All Blacks, I don't think we need to start worrying about are we letting them into our secret tactics book.
Yeah,
I know why James is asking that question, and I think it's a legitimate question, James. All right, yeah, no, it is. I know what you're saying, Dara. I know what you're saying.
I mean, look, I think we still. I mean, he's not gonna be playing for Ireland. He's gonna be playing with Leinster. But I mean, we've seen the performances Leinster have had after the Six Nations, and even the likes of Caelan Doris has come out and said it's great to be back playing the Leinster way. And get back into the Leinster setup again and play that way. So, I think Nienaber has a much different defensive mode of play than Ireland does. So, he's not necessarily going to learn all the Irish tricks. And look, with video analysis, if the All Blacks probably have 5 or 6 lads doing video analysis of every team in the world. So, I mean, there's nothing really you can't learn from watching hours and hours of tape of teams.
Yeah, this is what they do off the top of a line now.
Sure, Razzie just sends lads out with camcorders,
Yeah.
And traffic lights.
He's up there in the stand with his stupid fucking light.
Yeah.
James, on that point, it just came into my head there now, as a lot of things do. It was said that the Irish attack system is not as good as Leinster's. I don't want to keep going on about Leinster, but it's topical. It's in the media sphere that the Irish attack system is not as good as Leinster's. Would you agree with that particular statement, James?
Well, on the evidence of the last 2 games that Leinster played, at the business end of the competition, you would have to say they're fucking pretty bloody good. And is it diluted a little bit by having the players from the other province in? Maybe it is.
So are you agreeing then that we should just have Leinster players representing
maybe the coaching is different. Dara, would you try up? Fucking try up.
Sorry, go on, James.
Look, the coaching is different between the Ireland setup and the Leinster setup. But is there anything, is there anything to be said for another match? Is there anything to be said for maybe a little bit of the Leinster coaching going into the Ireland mix if it works? And it clearly has worked with the fucking scores and not only the attack but the bloody defense as well. That was fucking phenomenal, as to have a clean sheet on 2 games and put up those fucking phenomenal scores. Was 118 points between 2 games to 0.
114.
114.
Yeah.
18-14. When you're over,
I know.
Doesn't fucking matter, but you know what I mean. So,
I know.
Yeah. I don't know the answer. That's why I'm sitting here drinking beer on a Thursday night and not coaching the Ireland team.
Good man.
Good man. James.
Richard.
That would be an ecumenical matter.
yeah.
Claire Devney is Claire Devney there, or has she fallen over?
She's upset. I suppose she's gone.
She's gone.
Oh, she's not. She's gone. Okay, Richard Holland. Your opinion is just something that.
Well, Claire's off. Are we going to say how old she is?
No.
Oh.
Richard Holland.
I was going to see.
We should run a competition there in the.
The West Dubs are dangerous. You want to be careful there.
But I'd say nothing there if I was you.
We should run
Richard, just briefly. It was said in I think. Hold on. Here's Claire back in. Jesus Christ, Devney, whichever fucking stop. Here she is.
Sorry.
Now.
Yeah, sorry.
Richard. Sorry, go on, James. Yeah.
Just while you were off there, Claire, we're about to start a little competition among the viewers to guess what age you were. So,
no, we weren't. You were. You suggested that.
Be nice.
Claire is 25 plus VAT. Right, we'll leave it at that.
At the lower
Richard Holland. Do you think that statement that I saw, it wasn't me saying this, that I saw that the Irish attack is less potent than the Leinster attack?
It is, but I think that's because the other defences have cobbled on how to slow the ball down with Ireland, and that's where their primary attack comes from, is speed the ball off the ruck. That's the Irish way of doing it. Now, a couple of tweaks, and the Irish could have that back, But as results go, at the moment the Leinster attack is better.
Right, okay. Fair enough. Dara Wesson, would you agree with what James and Richard have said?
On occasion, it can be better. I mean, I'm not going to fall into the trap of being, what? What's wrong with you?
No, I'm just saying you can't give a straight fucking answer. You're like, fuck, I don't know what. Go on.
Look, my allegiance is to Ireland and then Leinster in that order.
Yeah, we all know.
I'm not going to come out and say, "Oh, Leinster are the better team than Ireland," and have fucking cheating.
I'm just talking about the attack, the Irish attack versus the Leinster attack. That's all
Well,
I'm
look,
fucking asking
I
you.
mean, you're comparing oranges with pineapples because Leinster.
How am I doing that?
Because
How am I doing
Ireland are
that?
playing international teams and Leinster are playing clubs. So I mean, look, that's the
You
truth
tell
of
him,
it, though.
Darren. You tell
I mean,
him.
if Leinster went out and played Scotland, they might get hammered 76-0. You wouldn't know.
They probably
You can't.
beat
You
them.
know,
They
you
probably
can't
beat
Darren.
them. They
Finn
probably
Russell got
beat
man of the match.
No, shut up.
So I mean, you can't say. Look, it's different systems they're using. So and maybe look, the fact that there are so many Leinster players at the moment in the Irish squad, that maybe there's a bit of a struggle with them adapting to the different styles of attack that are used in the national squad. But it's. I wouldn't say one is better than the other. Kind of, come on.
Yeah, no, I know.
Like asking me favorite beer.
Yeah,
Sounds like asking his favourite child.
Claire, go on. Before we move on, Claire, go on. What would you agree, disagree with what was said already about the Irish attack as opposed to the Leinster attack?
I missed most of that because I was downstairs trying to pacify the dog. So
no,
move on.
I asked. No, the question I asked was: Is the Irish attack not as potent as the Leinster attack? Basically, James, Richard, and Dara had their say. Dara, iffy, 50-50, I should say. James said,
I did a
maybe,
reading and sat on the fence.
Oh, there you go. Right.
Yeah, I'm just going to agree with what Dara said. They're two completely different teams, so they're not going to. Yeah,
Oh,
I agree with Dara. I agree with Dara. I'm backing up with Dara on that one.
It's time to look at some comments from the viewers.
What's your opinion on it, Peter? You tell us what you think.
No, I'm the host. I'm the host.
But the host can have an opinion.
I don't.
But the host can have an opinion. Yes, you do. You're very opinionated, Peter.
Oh, I am.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Mike.
Mike Sheedy, happy birthday, Claire. Christopher Goff will Dora be getting treats for? Yes, she will. Gregor Galway, I'd agree with Leinster attack is better than Ireland's attack as an Ulster fan and an Ireland fan. Okay, great. Thank you, Gregor. Right, moving on. James Grennan, I'm going to ask you first about this. This also seems to be making the news headlines. A bit of context to this. Wait now, I took a screenshot of what someone said. I might refer to it, I might not. Wait now. This is about the IRFU's central funding for the central contracts. Now, for those of you who don't know, just a bit of background to this. About 20 years ago, the IRFU had about 25, the mid-noughties, the IRFU had about 25 to 30 central contracts for players, right? And it was it was evenly matched, although Connacht, James, as you know, has slightly less, right? But it was more or less, it was evenly matched over that. Then what happened was the financial crash happened, then COVID happened, and now it's down to the central contracts are down to about I think 14 players. I think Dara,
yeah,
you were
14.
saying
I don't think they were reduced during COVID. I think just the financial crash they went straight from
20 what's all right
14. Yeah.
Okay. So currently, the central contracts, I think there's 14. I think 11 of them are Leinster players.
Yeah, Tyburn and Munster, I think is the only one.
Yeah, two are. Is it two or Munster, one or Connacht or something like that?
No, Connacht actually have more centrally contracted players than Munster for the first time in history.
There you go.
And
right.
Ulster have none.
Your man, the winger.
Ulster have none, yes.
Ulster have none at the minute, which is
amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
Surprising. Okay, so how it works is that now it all comes from the same pool, but how it's all recorded on the balance sheet is that the provinces used to pay 30% of the players' contracts, and the IRFU will pay 70%. Right. So essentially, what that means is that the let's say, for example, Munster. Let's say Tyburn. Munster would be responsible for 30% of Tyke Burns' contract because he's on a central contract, and the
About
IRFU will pay the
£200,000.
balance. Yeah, okay. So now Humphreys has this is all to do with pathways into the game, right? So what Munster or what the IRFU have decided was that they are going to change the model that 40% of the wages of the players will be paid by the provinces and 60% will be paid by the IRFU, with the resulting balance being will be distributed to Connacht, Ulster, and Munster to develop their pathways into the national squad, because Leinster have a very concentrated pathway setup that is probably about, you could probably name them, probably 5 schools in Dublin that fund players into the Leinster Academy: Michael's, Blackrock, Clongowes, those sort of things. So what the IRFU are trying to do, what the IRFU are trying to do is develop the pathways for the other provinces into the academies of the other provinces. Right now, that's fantastic, brilliant, right? On paper, it's fantastic. Now,
Brilliant.
the problem is, I think that I like it, but of the schools that play rugby in the provinces, right? Ulster have 107, Leinster have 75, Munster have 41, and Connacht have 23. So, James, my question to you is this the right way to tackle this pathway issue for the other provinces that Leinster seem to be funding, or is there another way to do this, James?
It's a big question, and I don't know the answer to it. But I think something has to change, and I think this going to the 40-60 will definitely benefit the other 3 provinces. It will give a better, a fairer shake of the stick. And there's talk that it's going to go to 45 and 55 possibly next year. That they don't want to do a huge big jump in this Trumpian fucking era where there's enough world shocks going on that they don't want to go too big of a jump. But I think it can only be a good thing for Connacht anyway. Certainly, I think we're going to benefit from this. Is it the right thing to do or not? I don't know. I'm sitting here drinking beer on a Thursday night, and because I don't know fucking shit.
I'm joining you. Okay. Thanks, James.
I'm drinking orange.
I'm drinking Luke's Day, the official drink of the Irish rugby team, and I know even less.
Yeah. Is that the Caden's Irish version?
No, it's only the small bottle.
Oh my God.
Oh, okay.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ almighty.
We're
Okay.
not doing
For the
endorsements here.
IRFU, your viewers would be happy to see that.
But we're not doing endorsements here.
Not
No,
yet.
but we're supporting our national union's endorsements. Go on.
No, I just noticed it today. It's the Caden's Irish is actually on the bottle.
Anyway, for fuck's sake. Anyway, Richard Holland.
Can you tell louder, please? I didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm very close to my mic. Sorry, Richard Holland. Your thoughts. Your thoughts on this new IRFU funding model. Is this going to make a difference, Richard? Really?
Not immediately, I wouldn't think. This is something for 5, 6, 7 years down the line, I'll be honest with you. But there definitely needs to be more of a parity brought in between Leinster and the other 3 provinces. We mentioned it earlier on with a complete lack of front rows, so they're sending 2 lads down from Leinster. But yeah, look, I don't have a problem with it personally. Whether it'll work or not, I think a little bit more should also be. We mentioned last Monday night, but the AIL. The AIL should be a pathway there as well, if they really want to take it seriously. Yeah. Not just the schools, but the AIL as well. Because there's lads. You look at Tyke Furlong. He didn't go to a rugby school. You know,
Mike Ross, who we had on 2 weeks ago.
Again, another one.
He
Yes,
went to a gas school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Furlong would have been the same.
But you see, Richard and Claire, James, and Dara, right? One of the problems, excuse me, one of the problems here is right that the breakdown of the funding for the provinces is Leinster, Munster, and Ulster get the same amount of funding from the IRFU, right, which is 8 million per season. Connacht don't get that much; they get 6.2 million. Okay, so I like it's kind of I don't know how to describe it, but it's kind of like well, why would you like? Can you not do more with your money? Can you not be more strategic with your spending, your signings? I mean, Ulster's biggest fuck up was Kitsoff, in my view. That was one of their biggest fuck ups for spending and blowing their budget on Kitsoff.
Well,
Richard,
the one that springs to mind with me with Ulster was Nick Williams. When we signed him, he done absolutely nothing for us when he came to Munster.
Yeah.
What about RG Tampa?
Oh well, RG as well was another one.
He was a free signing because he was out of contract, James. He was out of contract in Munster, and he had to go. They couldn't keep him, so Leinster took him, and they didn't.
I think Humphreys
has been useless in the province. He was useless in Munster. He was in for a week and out for 3.
Yeah, well, that's
why you call him Tampa.
Yeah, but he hasn't been like that up here. He is actually. I was quite surprised. He's playing fucking great rugby up here. So is it the mindset again? Again, we come back to is it the mindset that they fall out of love with the game, or was it just that he didn't fit in with Munster?
No, I think Claire. I agree with you. I think Claire. It's the training routine that Leinster have as opposed to what Leinster or what Munster have. And I think, to be honest with you, I think Graham Rowntree is to blame for a lot of that. That if you look at what players got injured under his tutelage, Snyman was one of them, and it doesn't.
Carberry would have been another.
And Carberry was another one.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Anyway, okay.
Is it the 3-3 pitches that they train on?
Could be, Claire. Yeah. Could be.
Well,
Dara Weston,
I don't agree with the 3G pitch. I think they're
no, I hate them. No. Dara Weston, your thoughts on this?
Look, I mean, the one thing I would say is the one overhead Leinster don't have hanging over them is a new stadium. We've been renting our stadium for God knows how long now, and most of the redevelopment cost is being covered. Okay, I think in theory we still own Donnybrook, but it's not suitable for hosting enough people. But we rented the RDS, and then the RDS, because they own the stadium, they're still going to be paying for replacing the Anglesey stand and improving the facilities. I'm sure Leinster will have to kick in something, but we're not going to be saddled with debt like, the redevelopment of Thomond or the Kingspan or the Dexcom, So it's, but I mean, eventually maybe they need to start looking at, the academy system. And maybe that's why Leinster had more money to put into their academy or something over the years. I mean, I'm just throwing it out here, but maybe in the future we'll see Humphreys or somebody in the IRFU trying to introduce an NFL-style draft where players go into academies and then the 4 provinces have their chance to bid on players from other academies. That all the players say all the players who are graduating second year in an academy, okay, you get to bid on who you want to take to your underage or your youth team or your seconds team.
Well, that would mean that the weakest team would have the best pick of the draft then.
They'd have the first pick. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like at the moment, say, I'm not picking, but at the moment Ulster would have, because Ulster have no central contracts, and Richie took over a very demoralized team, and then they had the whole kits off feck up and everything. So yeah, they'd get the first pick. So for instance, like they could have ended up with a Sam Prendergast, coming off the back of the under-20s and all that. So, but then that does penalise Leinster for the amount of work that they put into their academy system. But yes, definitely needs to be done to bring it all up to a kind of an equal footing. Try and
But
make
the other side of it too is just the massive difference in population. I mean, Dublin alone has more people than the entire province of Munster, and probably Connacht combined.
Mm-hmm.
We've all the best people, so we'll leave that one there. Claire, Claire, any thoughts on the change in the IRFU funding model?
Yeah, hopefully it will be good for all of Irish rugby. Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I do think it's a good thing.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
But
Claire can do the points.
Do you think they're unfairly penalising Leinster, though?
All right, fuck Leinster, they have enough.
I don't think they are unfairly penalising Leinster. They're just doing it. They're doing it as an accountancy principle, basically.
And that is your trade. Okay.
Yes, that is my trade. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. And before we move on, let me look at a few comments here.
We're actually only on 56 minutes. We're doing good.
Yeah, we are doing good, yeah. Eric McCorkle, I don't know if the Irish attack is less potent, just going back to what we spoke about before, than Leinster's attack, but I was disappointed by the Irish penetration, giggity, once they were in the 22 during
how old are you?
I'm 53.
But you have the mentality of like 6-year-old or something.
You're only discovering that now.
No wonder you and Pod are friends. Oh my god!
Men never mentally grow up. Like
I know, yeah, exactly. I know, yeah.
All it takes is for Richard to fart, and the three of us will be in stitches for 2 or 3 minutes. You know.
Yes. Eric also says, as an Ulster man, I wish I could disagree with you. Okay. Johan, how are you, Johan? Munster not producing young players at rate and calibre of Leinster is surely down to coaching in Munster schools. Being inferior to Leinster schools, surely sort that out first, IRFU. I don't think that, Johan.
I don't think that's okay. That's not okay.
I don't think that's down to the IRFU, though, to be honest.
And we've had the case before. We had it in Leinster when Tony O'Reilly was around, where he was getting Jake White over to coach Belvedere. Similarly, JP McManus has got big guys in to coach some of the Munster Munchkins, I think it was. Some of the Munster schools.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I mean, that kind of thing does happen.
Yeah, okay. Bev Ann is all teams should be equal. It's meant to be 4 proud provinces, not just 3.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily agree with that. Johan, feck that NFL draft nonsense. Leinster should predominantly be Leinster players. Munster should be Munster players. Right now, Munster have all Leinster, front row, Milne, Barron, Jäger. Okay.
But I don't agree with that.
Is, Johan, there's no point in having Leinster players who are sitting on the bench. That's not serving the country. You know, so as much as I love Leinster, if we have a good talent there and another team can use them, then I say let them go to the other team for a season or 2. When they get really good, they can come back to Leinster. But when we need
well, look, that was effectively the plan with Carberry. Granted, it didn't work out, but that was the plan.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Okay.
If you remember a couple of years ago, anytime we had anyone good in Connacht, they were fucking pushed by Leinster. Robbie
Henshaw.
Yeah, fucking. Cian Healy, the fucking fucking named them. There's a list of them there. That just every time we were
Cian Healy.
Cian Healy, where are you going with Cian Healy?
Cian Prendergast, who you got?
Prendergast.
Anytime we had any good players who were getting poached by Leinster, that's what it seemed like anyway to us. Poor unfortunates that are on the lowest budget in the whole of the 4 provinces as well.
How many fucking beers have you had?
This is about 6 now.
He's had more than I've had.
Right, before we go on to because we're up on the hour mark now. Before we go on to win, lose or draw for the next weekend's games, James.
That's
quickly,
this weekend's games, not next weekend. This weekend,
whatever. This weekend's game. All right. Calm down.
That's the same fucking argument now. This weekend, next weekend. I have the same argument with my wife. She says one and I say the other.
Yeah, Grant. The fucking Matilda there had to get her fucking shoe in there. Thank
you.
James Grennan. Love you too. James Grennan, dedicated fan zones in stadiums. Is there any fucking need for this? I see that some Premiership clubs are trialing this. I just think this is a fucking pointless exercise.
To me, that just seems like it's needed in soccer. I don't see it needed in rugby because we're based on respect and mutual, banter and camaraderie and having the crack. And half the fun of going to a game is mixing with the opposition fans. And if you remove that, then what's the fucking point? Let's just all fucking play soccer and beat the shit out of each other at halftime.
Are you talking about Premiership soccer or Premiership rugby in the UK?
Rugby.
Dara.
I was going to say Premiership rugby are doing it. We definitely shouldn't do that because you'll end up banking.
Premiership rugby are doing it.
Right, go on. Okay. Richard, go ahead. Your thoughts on this? Dedicated fan zones. Is it needed, or as James said, it's ridiculous?
It's not needed. I mean, I've been to many a game in Thomond and the dugout bar before the match. You'd have both sets of fans in there. So what's the fucking difference? Why if it's not broken, don't fix it.
All right. It's been trialed in the Premiership. That's all out. That's just a topic that comes up. That's all.
Yeah, but it's Queens and Gloucester trying it.
In the immortal words of Sir Nigel Owens, this is not soccer. We don't need to segregate fans.
No.
All right. Okay. Claire Devlin. Claire, go on, Matilda.
No, definitely not. Doesn't need to be done. As you say, half the fun is sitting with the fans off the other team with the banter and stuff. So yeah.
With your big bottle of orange that secretly has a nagging of vodka inside it.
It actually doesn't. Would you believe it? It actually doesn't. It is actually only orange. I'm waiting on the son to come home with me food for me.
And a spice bag close by.
No, it is. He's actually done this on the way home from rugby, collecting the spice bag on the way home to me.
Grand job. Okay.
You haven't trained.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Claire, we're on. There's a few more comments coming in here. Bev and Marie, don't agree with it at all. Being in the stands with fans from other teams, that's what you're saying, James, and Dara and makes for a great app. Yeah, all of you. Sorry, all of you. Yeah. Gregor Galway, James has nailed us. Read the fans.
Thank you, Gregor.
Even a blind squirrel finds the occasional nut.
There you go, Mike Sheedy, lads. You're like the government. I don't know how we're like the government.
We're arguing all the time.
We're noisy and rambunctious, I guess.
Well, that's probably it. Okay, right, Claire. Win, lose, or draw because we're way over the hour mark. The game's
as usual.
The game's coming up this weekend, right?
Yes. Thank you.
In the order that they are happening, we have Stormers are entertaining Connacht. Claire.
I didn't see the squad that travelled. I'm sorry, James. I'm going to say Stormers.
Yeah, there's no Bundy and no Mac in this travel
squad. I haven't seen them. Yeah.
Okay, Claire. Munster are entertaining the Bulls.
Munster.
All right. Leinster are entertaining Ulster in the Aviva.
Leinster.
All right. The Irish women are away to Wales.
Is that okay?
What?
Sorry, I was thinking of something else. I haven't seen how the Welsh women have been playing, so I'll go with Oregon. They went ahead of England for the whole of 6.5 minutes last week.
All right. Okay, Dara Wesson, to you. Stormers are entertaining Connacht.
I mean, look, I love normally supporting Irish provinces, but I think the South African teams at home are just too potent, really. I mean, I think it's too hard. Our lads get distracted with swimming pools at the end of the pitches and stuff like that, so it's not too much of a distraction. I think Stormers will have it.
Okay. Munster are entertaining the Bulls, Darren.
I think now Munster at home, I think, should be able to do something. Having said that, the Bulls are a very strong side, so I think it could be close. But I'd say Munster to pip it.
Okay. Leinster are entertaining Ulster.
Look, it gives me no pleasure to say this, but kind of, I know Leinster will be resting a lot of players, and I wish it would be a lot more, level. But I think it could be, thoughts and prayers, and I hope Ulster do a good account of themselves. But at the same time, I want to see Leinster win as well.
All right. Okay. And finally, Dara, the Welsh women are entertaining the
Girls
Irish
in
women.
green. The girls in green will do it.
Okay. All right. Richard Holland, to you, Stormers entertaining Connacht.
I can't see anyone but Stormers winning that one. I think they just have too much for them. As James said, there's no Bundy and no Mack in that team either.
Okay.
Is Beelum going down, James?
Is Beelum is travelling, I think, yeah.
Yeah, he is. No, he is. I saw photographs online. Traveling. Okay, Richard, Munster, your team entertaining the Bulls.
I think that Munster will win that by about 10 points. I'll be honest with you.
Sorry, Richard. I have to go. My food's here. I'm starving. My food's here. Goodbye.
Go on, go. Log off. Go on.
Happy
Bye.
birthday.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Happy birthday. Log off. There you go. Sorry, Richard. I asked you about Munster v Bulls. Leinster v Ulster.
Oh, thoughts and prayers for Ulster. As Dara said, I can't see Leinster not winning this, but I would like to see Ulster give a good account of themselves.
Yes, absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
I totally agree. Yes. And lastly, Richard, the Welsh women are entertaining Ireland.
I'm going to say Ireland with a bonus point.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. James Gwennon, last voice on the show for you tonight with your win, lose, or draw predictions. First up, your team, Connacht. They are away to Stormers. How do you see that going?
That's going to be very difficult, but if they sort out the defence, the attack is good. We have no Bundy, no Mack. Our defence should be better. Our attack might be a bit better, and certainly we'll be better in midfield. So I'm going to say Connacht are going to give a good account of themselves and might squeak that against the odds.
Okay. Thank you, James. Okay, and Munster are at home. They're entertaining the Bulls.
Yes, South African teams don't travel well, so I'm saying Munster on that one +5 because they're at home.
Okay. Leinster are entertaining Ulster in the Aviva.
Sorry, Gregor, I'm afraid. Bevan, sorry, that's a foregone conclusion. That one, I'm afraid. That's a Leinster win.
Okay, and finally, James, the Welsh women are entertaining the Irish women in the Women's Six Nations.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have Erin King. She's out for the rest of the tournament, and it looks like she's out for the World Cup. So that's going to be a big hit to us, but I think we still have enough to handle the Welsh team.
All right. Okay. Gentlemen and Claire, who's left us, that is all we have time for this evening. We've gone overtime per usual. My thanks are to, excuse me, James Grennan, Richard Holland, and Dara Weston, and also Claire Debney, and also to all of you who have texted in your comments and your opinions. They are greatly appreciated. This is why we do it, to engage with you. So, gentlemen, listen.
On YouTube, we can do without him.
Okay, fair enough. Right.
But to the rest of the people who engaged, thank you very much.
There you go. All right, folks, listen, enjoy the rest of your evening. And again, a happy birthday to Claire and a happy wedding day to our colleague, Matt Boland, and his partner, Jen. We hope you're having a great...
happy Easter to everyone.
Now.
There you go. All right. Okay, folks, good luck. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Take
care. Good luck. Bye.
Enjoy the Easter eggs.
Yeah, cheers.